it's recorded.
Yeah, we're official.
I'm going to make it big.
Happy first Monday of June. I totally thought that it was the second Monday, but it's not. So I'm glad you guys could all hop on, and I figured it was a good time to grab the Boyers before they have a little bundle of joy in their hands and are not sleeping.
It won't look this pretty.
So for those of you guys that don't know Noelle that well, kind of give her a little intro as she walks away. So Noelle has been coaching as long as I have, probably more seriously, a little bit more than I have, but we started in the same challenge group with the same coach at the same time. And so our 2-year mark is going to be in August. Crazy. So she's been at this for a while, and she has hit Success Club. How many months are you at, Noelle, now?
22?
22 months in a row. So when she hits 24 months, she's a Success Club All-Star Legend, which basically just means she gets an awesome recognition at Summit, and it just proves she's very consistent with her business. So she has been my success partner for a little over a year now. And Ryan has been a big part of that. Even though you may not see him, posting all the time and everything, he is Noelle's support system. And so I thought it was a good time to get them both on here and kind of share their experience with, growing a business together. And even though Noelle might be the forefront of that, Ryan is definitely as much a part of that as Noelle is. So I know you guys sent out a few questions, and I have those written down, and so we can ask. But for sure, if you guys have anything else along the way, interrupt me and ask away. Ryan told Noelle today that he wanted to wing this and be a Miss USA pageant right on the spot. So I hope that you're ready for that.
Yeah, don't be held. I don't know if they watched that, but yeah.
Oh.
California's response was awful. I felt so bad for her.
I think that the rich, that they need to
not be segregated with the poor.
give more.
And then she said
that was 20 seconds after she started the sentence.
Well, she didn't even start. She froze. She was like,
and then people just clapped and gave her time.
And then she said, I don't think the rich and the poor should be segregated anymore. Pause. I think the rich need to be more giving.
Interesting.
It was a really hard question. Anyways.
Well, and also I should also mention that Ryan is in the Marines, and so they have moved twice now since Noelle started coaching. Noelle, do you want to give any background to how you kind of started? And
sure. So, like Danielle said before, she and I have the same coach, and our coach is also a military spouse. So when the 21-day fix and all this stuff came to me, I was feeling really stuck because I couldn't find a job in my field as a journalist. I had gained 15 pounds of the newlywed 15.
100%.
100%. Actually, it was called Newlywed 9, so I exceeded that. And I just was feeling really unfulfilled. And it was actually as I bought the 21-day fix 2 days before my 1-year anniversary. So it was supposed to be this awesome time to celebrate 1 year of marriage, but I was just feeling so crummy. So I did the 21-day fix, fell in love with it, and then my coach was like, well, you talk about how much you hate your job all the time. Why don't you become a full-time Beachbody coach or a part-time coach? Try this out because you're already telling people about it.
This was after you did that ab workout.
Oh, yeah. And before I did the 21-day fix, I was doing this, I bought this, how they have those internet sensational, workout people, it was an Emily Skye program. And not
your mom.
What?
You became your mom.
I became my mother, who is notorious for buying workout programs, trying them, and not seeing any results. She actually has pretty much every Beachbody program out there. So that's another story for another time. But
so Noelle, what did Ryan think Ryan, what did you think when Noelle said, I'm going to start coaching?
Because he already just said that I was becoming my mother. So.
Well, she was trying to find out what she wanted to do. And like I said, she just did the ab workout, whatever pro thing. And I'm like, oh, great. Another fixed pro at-home workout. And I was not very thrilled. And I was like, okay, you can spend the money on it, sure. We'll try it out. And then I was like, what if you coach and you sign up just 2 people, your Shakeology is paid for? So that kind of made me more open to the idea.
Yeah, you were a little, well, I had to explain that all to you because
Yeah.
because of the fact that I was at such like a crappy place, like I was like in a really low place, like Ryan was a lot more open about me trying it because, for instance, the ab thing that was like $35 failed. I failed and I still was feeling awful. So when Sam was like, no, I'll try 21 Day Fix with me, I literally was just like, oh, please, I think it'll work. I'll do anything. I'll prove it to you.
Oh, you're brushing your hair or crying?
I was crying. Oh, tears flowing. So, but then, when I started seeing the success, he started understanding it. And that was when Sam presented the opportunity to me and I presented it to him. And he was like, well, I mean, it makes sense. If you can do it, fine. But that was when you also gave me that, the caveat of this can't hurt our finances. Like, this can't be something that, you do sometimes. And then next, like you hit your goal of helping 3 people 1 month, and then next month you take off and say, nah, I don't want it. We can pay for Shakeology. Because it really was, like, as much as we could pay for Shakeology, it was still a luxury. Right? Did I answer that question?
Yeah. So can you kind of speak, I'm just kind of going off this, we'll get to the questions, but can you speak to kind of how you decided to kind of make that happen? Like what did you commit to and how did Ryan support you in doing so? And I don't want Noelle to just be the talker the whole time because we want to have Ryan speak too, but how did you guys kind of communicate that like you were going to support her and this was important to her?
Yeah.
Say that question again.
Oh, he just pulled to California.
It was too long. Okay, so let's go to the first question. I'll kind of rephrase this. How did you get your spouse to understand the importance of this opportunity to you and have them support you?
Yeah, that's your
It sounds like it's directed toward me. Danielle.
But it could be towards Ryan.
Okay. So what did I do, Ryan, that made you want to support me? Like, when was the moment that you had to decide to support me? Well, that.
Well, I always want to support you, so that's a loaded question in itself. But I would say whenever I gave you like the ultimatum type thing, like if you're not going to go at it wholeheartedly, like I don't want you to do it at all. And so then whenever I actually saw you investing your time and stuff into it and starting to see other people follow behind you and say, hey, I want to do that too. Then I saw your lifestyle change. You started working out more. You started posting. You started feeling better about yourself because, excuse me again.
Someone just ate bacon and beer.
But whenever you started working out and talking about your journey to other people is whenever you really started to see you happy again, like you were back in college when surrounded by all your friends. So even though you're not with your friends, you're still talking to them a lot. Even though it's about Beachbody, you're still keeping up with them. And may not be your old friends, but they may be new friends that you're making. You're just excited about that. And that's whenever I saw that change in you is whenever I started getting on board.
That's nice. Because actually that's a good point that he said because, because we are a military family, and I did do 2 moves in the last 2 years. Having a close-knit group of friends just wasn't a reality for me anymore. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I felt so stuck when we were first married is because I left like this awesome group of people when I was living in DC to living in the middle of nowhere where I knew no one and had no identity anymore except that, I'm this military spouse and I don't know what I'm doing with myself, or, you know, and I don't want to pop out babies yet at that time.
So
Give me a chance to like really connect with people, I think.
So can you guys both speak to how you kind of created a balance between business time and couple time? Did you guys come up with a plan? Did you like speak about your struggles? Because I know you guys did struggle for a while when Noelle would be like this, or she'd be on the phone with me for an hour and Ryan would be like, you guys are still talking. So can you speak to kind of how you shifted, or where there was a point that you were like, okay, Noelle, this has got to change, or we need time away from Beachbody?
Yeah, how did you do that, honey?
Well, in the beginning, I was working a part-time job, so I did a lot of Beachbody stuff during my lunch breaks, or when I would get home from work, or before I would go into work. And at first, it wasn't that big of a deal because it was all new and exciting, and Ryan was like, oh, she's just doing her own thing. Then when he started noticing that this was becoming like my life, he would get pretty upset. Like, he would be like, you're always on your phone, you're always doing this, like, you're not connecting with the family the way you used to, like, you're not making dinner anymore, you know, things like that. But I think for us, when he started communicating that with me, I started seeing, okay, I don't want Beachbody to become my entire life. I want it to be something that enhances my life, not takes away from it. So it took him, you know, calling me out on it, and still calling me out on it. You know, actually setting business hours. So if you do have a full-time job, having time set aside that you communicate with your spouse and say, hey, and this is what I do now. I'll tell them, hey, I have a call at 4:30, so I'm free until 4:30. Or, hey, I need to work on my business for 1 hour. Can you, you know, clean up the kitchen, or can you and Remy go on a walk while I do that? Or, you know, hopefully when the baby comes, like, can you hang out with the baby for 1 hour so I can have 1 hour of focused time? And I think that's helped, like, actually having a separate space to do that also helps me to get in the zone. You know, I do have the luxury of working full time now. And so with that, I had to make the decision, okay, I have to be done with work by 4 p.m. unless I have some extra calls. And if I have extra things, I communicate that with him. So he doesn't expect to be disappointed. You know what I mean? Or he doesn't expect to spend time with me and then not have that time. You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, biggest part, as with any relationship, is communication. So if she communicates to me, hey, I'm going to be busy at this time, I already have that going into the night that, hey, at this time she's going to be busy. Okay, that's not a big deal. I can find something else to do. But if she doesn't have it planned or whatever, and all of a sudden she's just on her phone or on her computer and stops whatever she's doing with me, that's when it started to upset me a little bit, especially at dinner time. She would be on her phone, and I'm like, no, this is a time for you and me to sit down together and eat dinner or lunch or whatever. Like, no phones when we're eating.
Yeah, that's real. And I would get so bad that I would forget to eat. Like, I would work all day long. Even as a full-time person, I would work from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. And I would be like, he'd come home and be like, hey, have you thought about dinner? And I'm like, no, I've been working. Or, like, I'll just be, like, on the computer still, and it's, like, 7 o'clock. I would schedule all these calls, and then it's, like, I'm famished because I didn't plan my day out. So, you know, having him even sometimes call me out and be like, Noelle, you said you'd be done at 5:30. It's 6. Still helps. I'm not perfect.
Yeah, and then the big thing for me is her communicating with me kind of what she's doing in that time. Because I'm like, you've had all day to do work, so, like, why are you still working when I come home? Like, I just went to work, did all my work, and came home, and now I'm done. Why are you not done? And sometimes, yeah, we're on the West Coast, so to talk to people on the East Coast or vice versa, like, whatever, like, you have to meet their schedule too, which is fine. But just understanding that she's being productive in that time, she's doing her power hour when she's supposed to, and she's not just talking to one person for 4 hours.
That was a big thing you taught me about. He taught me to not do that.
Like, you can't invest that much time into one person or your business won't be successful because you're neglecting everyone else.
Yeah. And you're not doing what you say. If you're saying that you're trying to create this for freedom and you're talking to one person for 4 hours, that sounds really exhausting.
Which you did.
Which I did. And I did a lot of in the beginning. A lot of. Because I was like, I'm so invested. I'm going to give this person, I'm going to help them. I'm going to change their life.
What voice is it?
I have different voices. It's my intense focus. Yeah. Voice.
Ryan, can you speak to a little bit about how Noelle includes you in this business and how you kind of feel you're a part of it?
Whenever she tells me I hit Success Club and I have coaches and I'm a diamond and she wasn't, made me feel pretty good.
Besides that, so just for like Tara and Julie, maybe Noelle runs Ryan's account as a discount coach as well to create stability in her business and build her income utilizing 2 accounts. So I just kind of want to explain that. But sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
He's kept diamond on time months when I've fallen out of diamond. Lost it. And he loves to rub that in my face. He's like, I hit diamond in my sleep, literally. But anyway, there's more to that question.
So the way I stay invested, a lot of it, like month to month, is whenever I look at the bank and I'm like, okay, well, since it's not like a set amount that you make, like for us making our budget, what's like the average, or what can I expect you to be making every time? And if you're not hitting that, what in your business is holding you back from doing that? And what can I help you with to be able to reach more people in a shorter amount of time so that you do have more time to spend with me? You're still not seeing like the negativity in the bank account or whatnot. Like, so that's how I normally do, is whenever I see like, hey, are you checking that the amount going into the bank account is what's supposed to have been there? Because
there was a time
I was asking her last fall that, and she's like, oh yeah, I've been checking. Uh-huh. And then in December we got like $1,500, and I was like, why did we just get $1,500? I know you didn't make that much at one time. And she's like, I don't know, let me check. And then she comes back and she's like, well, apparently over the last 3 months or 3 weeks, whatever it was,
it was like 3 months.
They haven't been giving me like your account or my account or something.
I wasn't getting
payment.
paid.
And now they just gave it to me in a lump sum. I'm like, I just asked you like every week if you've been checking. You said yes.
I was checking the back office. I wasn't checking the bank.
Prime example, check your weekly commissions every single week.
Account, though, because I was checking
You
it.
have to compare the two.
Well, you're always going to get paid the week prior in your bank account. But I was checking like, oh, that's how much I made. That's how much I made. And I didn't match it with what I was getting in the bank account. But I think another thing that you would say, another thing that Ryan's really good at is because he's not emotionally involved in anyone's story, really, he can look at things very like strategically and systematically. So if say I'm like, oh, I'm just having such a hard time with this one coach, he can be like completely, unattached and say, well, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to be talking to them. And, these are the next steps on how to move on. And that's been really helpful for me. And then also in the beginning as a new coach, getting him to understand why coaching was important came from me sharing with him, challenger victories. So I would show him, hey, look at this person's transformation. Isn't this awesome? And then he would actually see that there is fruit to my labor. And I think that was really helpful, don't you think?
Yeah, seeing the transformations is nice, but then also actually like helping her with her business. We went to a coffee shop one time this spring and just sat down. We're like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing now, and this is where I want to be. How do I need to get there? Like, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And we sat down and we tried to really kind of say, well, what's your target audience? Are you just trying to hit everybody? Because then, like, your groups won't be as connected because you don't have something similar. If you are going after just a specific person, or a type of person, like a single mother or new mothers or something like that, like you'll be able to connect with that person a lot more. Even as time goes on and you're no longer a new mother, you've already done that and been there, and you know the struggles and how to help that person. So going through stuff like that is beneficial too.
Yeah, and like even the sidebar, something that, you know, if you're a new coach or even if you're a coach who's been around for a while, like you got to realize that your niche market's always going to change, because as you're not the same person that you were when you signed up. So if you were a struggling young professional when you first signed up, and then now you are living in an awesome apartment, you know, killing it at work, Danielle, your niche is changing, you know, so you need to change. And so that was really helpful to have like a kind of like mid-year meeting with my business partner.
Ryan, can you speak to, because I have to ask Ryan questions or Noelle will just talk the whole time. Can you speak to kind of like your aha moment when you realized Noelle was taking this seriously as a future career and that, you know, she wanted to not work the next time you moved?
I think that probably happened. It was definitely back in North Carolina whenever we were talking, and I just saw like the excitement in her eyes, and that like what she was doing was enjoyable. And I never saw that even when she was back in DC. She'd always complain about it, and I'm like, it doesn't even seem like you like being a journalist. Like, as much as you say you do, like you still complain about it more than you brag about it. So seeing like that sparkle in her eyes saying like, I enjoy helping other people, and I am able to make I'm able to at least support myself and help pay some bills. Like, even if I'm not like making as much as you yet, like I'm going down the right path to where I could be in the next year or two to be making just as much or more than you.
What about the bad days though? The days when I complain and I say like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
There have been a handful of times where I told her, you need to realize or come to the decision, is Beachbody for you? I'm like, it's not for everyone. It's not going to be you forever. Like, you're not going to be that 80-year-old grandma still selling Beachbody.
I could be.
You could be, but the chances of doing that aren't very good. So
Listen, we haven't seen a successful 80-year-old yet.
So I've told her a few times, like, you need to decide if this is what you want or if you want to try to pursue something else. But if you aren't doing this, you need to have an idea of what that other thing is that you want to go after.
And that scared the heck out of me. So I was like, I'm not going to be complaining no more.
Yeah, I think that's when she started realizing, she's like, well, what else would I be doing? Would I be getting this much enjoyment yet? I'm going through a little bit of a rough patch and I'm not getting someone. And I've told her that, I'm like, even if you're not getting someone in the first week or two of that month, like, well, have you been working the way you're supposed to be working last month? Because it's not what you do that month. It's talking to people now, which is going to help you in the future. That person that you talked to 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago is finally going to be like, hey, I remember we were talking about this, like, I'm ready to do it now. And it's just like kind of out of the blue. She's had a couple people like that, just like,
More than a couple.
I want to do this. I've seen your post, like, I've come to the decision I want to do it.
I just posted about a girl named Charlie today. We had been talking for like, I would say 5 months, and she finally decided to do it last month, and it's the happiest thing in the world. So it's worth it.
So I think for you, Ryan, it's been seeing Noelle being consistent with doing her daily behaviors and sticking to the commitment she made as a coach. That's what I kind of got out of that.
Yeah, I hope what we're saying is making sense to you guys. We kind of, I feel like I'm just rambling. Do you feel like that?
No, I love the conversation. I'm just seeing what else.
Danielle.
Thanks. I wonder who bought it. Well did.
Really got
This is kind of a, well, we kind of talked about this, but Somebody asked, how do you balance work spouse time without making Ryan feel neglected and second to your business? Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, one thing that now that I'm able to do is I really try not to work on the weekend. Sunday nights are I kind of try to get back into things, but really just having planned family time has been really great since we moved out to California.
Communication.
And communication, it really comes down to that.
When you communicate, say, I want to do this with you, but I have to do this business stuff. Like, when does this work for you? I really want to go do this with you. I want to be able to spend time with you. Whenever you're actually communicating that with your spouse or even like your best friends or whoever, like that way they feel like, hey, that person is putting that forth the effort to show me that they want to spend time with me and that is valued time, but that they also have their own stuff to do, which is wonderful.
And I think too, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like Ryan is pretty well versed in Beachbody terminology. Like he understands what a power hour is and understands like how I talk to people and how my business runs. And that's because I've had to be like, Ryan, I have a team call tonight at this, and we're talking about this. It's on the calendar. I also have a calendar. So if ever who's like, oh, I didn't know about that, I can always be like, but honestly, for him to understand what a power hour is, it's super important. For him to understand what do you even know what my team name is? I don't know if you know that.
Your old one's Glow Diggers, Steve. Your new one's something else. I don't remember that.
But like, frankly, fierce. This is Glow Diggers right now. Okay.
Glow Diggers?
Yeah. Anyways, like having him understand how this business works has really helped us to communicate, for him to understand like, hey, I'm having a getting started right call with the new coach. It's going to take about this long. And then after the call, I'm like, and this is what happened. He's like, okay, I see why that was important. Or I see why you needed to spend that much time doing that. I'm trying to get, Remy, do you see Puppy? Kind of.
I think the biggest thing I've seen in their relationship change is Noelle is very open and communicative. And even though Ryan may not be doing the workouts or Shakeology totally like Noelle has, he has dabbled. I know he's tried them out.
A bag of cafe latte.
Yeah. But he has been included in her business on the daily behaviors. And gosh, how are you going to fit a baby in there?
All right. I haven't moved.
But I think Noelle is very emotional and loves people and really connects with people. And Ryan kind of balances her out and saying like, okay, but you said you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Why isn't it done? Why aren't you hitting Success Club? Maybe he says, show me your BAT. I don't know. Do you guys talk about that?
No, he hasn't asked that.
Oh, well, how many people did you talk to today? I'm sure he's asked that.
Especially like if I go in the complaining mode, that's when he'll be like, well, did you do this and that? And I'll be like, like, you don't understand. It's like they talk or something because they tell me the exact same thing. I was going to say something you said, but I don't know.
Sorry.
It's okay. But it was something about, I don't remember. Oh, whenever I hit Success Club, I tell him I have it on our like kitchen board, like where I'm at, where he's at, things like that. But honestly, I remember. Okay. Also, in the beginning, when I was trying to like make Ryan feel loved and connected, and I think I've said this to your group before, but one of my strengths is writing, so I definitely use that a lot. But making sure that I write about him. As much as he's not like a big Facebooker, it really helped him see that he was a part of this. So when I would write about my why, including him, and then be like, hey, did you see what I wrote about you? I mean, what was it? What's that like when you would, in the beginning, when you'd see posts that I would write about you and why I was doing that?
Post about me?
Mm-hmm. I always usually did it like after he was mad at me too. He doesn't even remember, but
I remember Noelle. I remember the one of the beginning posts you made about Ryan is that didn't you sell your boat to get her engagement ring? And one of Noelle's big vision board things is to buy Ryan a boat through this Beachbody opportunity. And so things like that, I think, make it visually apparent to Ryan that she's seriously like not only creating, you know, fun excitement for herself and a job, but that he's a part of that vision and she wants to give it back to him.
Yeah.
Right.
I have 8 more years so I can get out of the Marine Corps, and you better be making me.
So yeah, we always talk about that, how when he's out of the Marine Corps, I'm going to be the breadwinner. I'll be the sugar daddy. He can just have his boat in it.
Mama.
Okay, sugar mama. That sounds good. But yeah, that's like a big goal of ours.
You're going to crush it. I know it. One of the last kind of questions that were kind of similar, and this is going to be more businessy, Noelle, but how do you kind of run Ryan's account to help your business grow? Like how let me see, what was the question? Do you start running your spouse account once you hit a certain amount of Success Club points? How do you kind of strategize with that?
Yeah, so first step is always to work your account first. And nowadays, since Beachbody gives out free leads when you hit Success Club 10, that's my goal. Once I hit Success Club 10, I can focus on his account. If ever I just have a customer, someone who just wants Shakeology or just wants a program, I always sign them up through him because that volume, not the volume.
You'll get the extra commission.
Yeah, you get the extra commission, and if it comes through me versus if I signed up a customer, it would go to my upline. So that's something that's really important to understand. But again, that's only for customers. And then once I've hit my goal of 10, I start working on bringing him up to Success Club. It doesn't happen every month. Didn't happen last month, unfortunately, but it did the last 2 before that. But, you know, I did consistently put customers in. And actually, it's funny. He actually, like, cycled, like, so much more than me last week. I cycled 1 time, and he cycled, like, 6. It was crazy. And that was really cool to see that, you know, even though my account may have been not as strong that week, his was. So it didn't hurt. Like, I made enough for Shakeology in 1 week because of his cycles.
Noelle, can you speak to, like, let's say a year ago, how did you run Ryan's account before you were hitting 10 consistently, before you were
Okay, good question, Julie. So a customer versus a discount coach. So when you're a new coach, we always suggest that you sign people up as a discount coach because they are able to get that same discount that you have. Once you kind of solidify your account, you can start signing people up as customers versus discount coaches because that's the way you can start getting commissions. So when you sign someone up as a discount coach, you're not getting a commission off of them at all because they're getting that.
No. You'll get the commission off the first challenge pack order, but
I call that bonuses.
If they're just a customer, every month they order Shakeology, you'll get that $30 commission. Whereas as a discount coach, you will get their volume, which will contribute to your team cycle bonus. So you'll still get something from it. But Noelle and I think both approach this as you should hit diamond and then worry about customer versus coach.
Yeah, exactly. And so in the beginning, I looked to Ryan's account as my way of hitting diamond because I knew it was something I could control and I really wanted to hit diamond in a certain time. And so diamond is when you have 3 coaches on each leg plus 2 emeralds. So I started, you know, I would get my account to Success Club 6 because back then you could still get leads from Success Club 6. And then I would start trying to get at least 2 people on his account. So making sure that he's kept emerald consistently. And then in 2 months, I got him to emerald or to diamond. And that's from when I started. So that was like, when did we start? When did that push group start? February?
I think November we did the first one, and then April we did the second one. But it doesn't matter.
Anyways, it was April of last year when I decided to make his to get his account to Diamond so that I could be 1-star Diamond. Right? Does that help?
Yeah, so you'd also look at how strong a potential coach might be to know where you want to sign them up.
Yeah, that too. Which
So
is
you'd always try to get yours first, but if you had a strong coach and you want to get me to Diamond, you might put that coach under me.
yeah, and that's what I did to get him to. Because I mean, you need to get to Emerald, so I needed 2 people who would get to Emerald. So that's what I did. And now, now that his account's pretty stable and mine's pretty stable, I strictly just sign up customers under him and coaches under me. And then if I start seeing that his leg is looking a little weak, I'll sign up a discount coach under him.
I think the good benefit to remember too, since all of you have the potential to run spouse accounts, is that you can double dip in team cycle bonus running 2 accounts. Mm-hmm. So if you're at Emerald and your spouse is at Emerald as well, that's only 4 people you've signed up, and it's halfway to Diamond almost, and you are both eligible for that team cycle bonus. So Noelle will cycle, but then extra volume will go to Ryan as well, and she'll cycle and match what Ryan is cycling as well. Exactly. So when I tell you guys, it creates stability in your business, it really does. And I think if you just start with the goal of hitting Success Club in your account first and foremost and making that a non-negotiable, and then any extra in the second account, that's really helpful. I think the main thing that Noelle has done is she's created urgency at the end of a month to set up a new month strong hitting Success Club early by the 15th so that the rest of the half of the month she can focus on Ryan's account and her team getting to Success Club. I think we've both kind of been doing that.
I already hit Success Club this month, so and it's only the 5th. All because of what I was doing last month.
So I think that speaks volumes. It's really just creating that urgency and hype and going all in. 3 people is easy, guys. You just got to believe it.
And I think I kind of talked about this. I know this isn't really fun about spouse stuff, but, you all have something that's unique about you. The biggest unique thing about me right now is that I'm pregnant. So
Literally.
Pregnant with ideas, pregnant with life, yes. But the thing is that I know coaches who have let things like life hold them back, but I really encourage you to let whatever your circumstance or situation is. You're getting married, if you are starting a new job, if you are on summer break because you're a teacher, whatever, use that to your advantage. It might seem so ordinary, but that's the best thing. Like who you are in your state, like you being completely ordinary, it's what other people need to see and need. So like that teacher on summer break, like make this the best summer ever. Get your butt in shape. Help other people get in shape. And it comes down to that sense of urgency. If for me, I created a group called, Before I Have to Push. It's kind of gross, but that's my sense of urgency. I have 2 months before I have a baby, and I really want to shape up my butt, so I'm gonna, And it's amazing how I was able to hit Success Club this weekend when I wasn't even working my business, because of creating that sense of urgency. So I encourage you to do that.
So why don't we open this up if you guys have any other questions for Noelle and Ryan. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but just go and unmute yourself and ask away. I know you guys got something. Sarah, anything?
I'm thinking. Thank you. First off, that was very insightful for me as a new coach just starting out. It was good to hear all of that.
Good. I hope you are. I don't know what we said, so I hope it was helpful.
I said nice things. You said blah, blah,
You
blah,
totally California'd it. You California'd it at one point.
She started asking you a question, so I zoned down.
Yeah. We had some stuff in the chat. The most important thing for me to focus on now is balancing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Honestly, Lauren, one of the things that I did, because I really struggled with the time zone problem that I'm in, and I just literally had to write the time that I was free and what activities I did in that time. And then set a timer and have a highlighter. Do that, whatever that was in that time, and then highlight it. And it's so fun when you highlight it because it looks pretty. And then it starts becoming easier to get certain things done in the small amount of time that you have. And, sometimes sitting down for a full hour is impossible. So, I have a notebook where I write down the times that I have and when I have to do it. So that's been good. Because I don't know what my life's about to be like when I have this baby. I don't know what schedule I'm going to be on.
The baby
Maybe I'll be on mountain time.
The baby schedule.
Claire, what do you got?
Well, I don't really have a whole lot of questions because I have listened to your call before. Well, no, I mean, I think it's just so insightful to constantly be getting other people's perspectives. Like the more that now that, I mean, this is my anniversary month, which is crazy. So there'll be a lot more posts coming out. I've been hinting at it, but anyways, no, it's just like really good to hear, especially hear from you, Ryan, because I listened to your first video maybe a year ago, and you two as a couple have a completely different tone than the first one. And Noelle, I know you love to talk, but Ryan, I don't think you talk very much at all maybe in the first one. And it's just so cool to hear you legitimately are talking about how to run this business. And I know that I've done a much better job sharing that with Richard over the last year, but it tells me that I can be a lot more open. It just kind of sucks. We've obviously been a little busy this year, but the end of some things is near, and it kind of makes me look forward to this fall and how I can run my business differently and how I can involve them more now that school is starting to wind down a lot more and the wedding will be over, and so it kind of helps give me future. I think all of us an idea of that, and I think I connected to honestly so many things that you said, but one thing that I've been implementing and last couple of weeks have been a lot more consistent. Things I'm sure we all probably struggle with maybe being super consistent with power hours. That's been probably my biggest thing. And one thing, kind of what you said, Noelle, is making it business time, business hours. And I don't think I ever said that to myself since I started saying it was always just something I need to do. But as soon as I think you shape your language of saying these are my hours, this is when I need to get it done, even if we are working full time, if you don't have a carved out scheduled time to do it and you're racing home from work and you're all of a sudden telling your spouse not now, I got to finish this shit. Yeah, it sucks. But no, I mean, I totally agree. I tell Richard when all my calls are, I probably don't talk a lot about maybe what's happening on the calls, but I think if you guys saw my morning post this morning, I was talking about this nasty thing someone said to me. Well, the girl was in Richard's dental class, so we did talk about who that person was, and he definitely supported me with what went down. But anyways, yeah, I know. I think I love what you guys said about communication, and I'm your little cheerleaders, and I can't wait to see your little baby.
I wanted to also mention too, Claire, there are gonna be amazing, perfect seasons for your business. And then there are going to be awful seasons for your business. So to be able to, look forward to those, lesser or better times is great. But I think, again, it goes back to every month, what you're doing now in the midst of the crazy is going to make that season of relaxation that much better. Because, I mean, I know my life's about to be hella different. And in ways I can't even imagine. But at the same time, I've gone through some really crappy times in my business where I was at an airport and I lost all of my Success Club points while flying in the air. No care in the world. One day I was just or not one day, when I landed, I was let me just double check to make sure my Success Club points are all there, and they're all gone. Just things that you can't control. But I really encourage you guys, no matter where you are in this business, be here a year from now and learn whatever you can, become a sponge. That was something that Danielle and I definitely were in the beginning and still are, and that hasn't changed. But like coaches come and go because they don't adapt, or they don't want to. They want it to come too easy for them, and it's easy, but it's not easy. You're fighting a lot of outside forces like negative people, or you're fighting your job, or your spouse, or whatever. But it's worth it. It really is.
Well, and the other thing, sorry, I don't want to like be talking over, but I really connected to what you said about how like you really love journalism, and I think there's a lot of people on this call that can relate to having a pre-passion before Beachbody, and Beachbody might not even be your passion right now either. But I love that, like, Ryan, you were so supportive of her, and that, like, wow, like you really light up about this. And that's kind of, I know, like, I personally, that's how I felt. Like, you guys all know I'm getting my master's in counseling, and I'm pretty much making the decision I don't want to get my license to become a therapist because of Beachbody. And it's been the most terrifying journey the last year. I've literally got my own therapist for it, as a result. But I mean, that's what's, I guess, the crazy and powerful thing about Beachbody, about just connecting to that passion. And God, hey, Riley. Hey.
All right, she's going off.
We have a fan.
Fan.
She watched with me last year.
Oh, I muted you, Claire.
I was gonna say, Claire, have you listened to anything by Christina Delgado?
Not recently.
Her story can relate. I feel like you could relate to it. I mean, she was a lawyer, like a pretty successful one, and at one point in her Beachbody, I think 2 or 3 years in, she quit and became a full-time Beachbody coach, and that was really hard to swallow. Like, it's kind of like what Ryan was saying, how even when I was a journalist, I wasn't proud of it, but I was proud to say this is my job. And how many of you guys I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I bet there's at least one person where you don't necessarily feel proud saying, oh, I'm a Beachbody coach. Like, oh, what do you do? I'm a Beachbody coach, versus, oh, I'm a journalist. And I think that's a lot of because, we went to 4+ years of school to study something, and, so anyways, I think you should listen to some more of her stuff. She had a recent call this year.
Yeah. No, and that's what I follow her pretty like decently on Instagram, and I just don't think I've paid enough attention to her past story. And I read I forget, was that Danielle that shared this, or Liz Hartkey? But yeah, no, I saw her story, and I've listened to her call. But you're right, like it's she's got a great story. And I think another thing, like what you said, is kind of like a lot of coaches might give up too. And I think maybe I'm relating it too much to myself, but they think like, yeah, like saying like I'm a teacher, or I'm an accountant, or I'm X, Y, and Z, versus I'm a Beachbody coach. Like, we get caught up in image and what people may think or see of us, or, seeing what our spouse have done versus what we're trying to do, and that's a different dynamic as well.
Any final thoughts? Go ahead, Noah.
One more thing, like, as a reminder, like, if you get to those points where you're like, ashamed of being a Beachbody coach, or some of the, or just like talking about it, because it is kind of awkward. Like, talk about it with a testimonial. Have those, like, be a collector of stories, because no one can take away someone else's victory, your own personal victory. Like, like the girl that I shared today, she actually is starting to like herself again. Like, I could never talk about that as a journalist. Like, oh yeah, I just wrote this story about this guy who, made fire hydrants. Good for him. But like, now I can be like, I helped someone to actually like start loving themselves again. That's incredible. And that's so much more valuable than anything else I was ever doing before.
This was something that you and I went through too. Whenever somebody would say, hey, what does your wife do? And what would, like, at the beginning would get mad at me, or I didn't know exactly what to say. I'm like, well, she's a English lit journalism double major, but like right now, I don't know, she's like doing this thing. For me to actually say, yeah, she's a Beachbody, she's a fitness coach or whatever, like she helps people out, and they're like, really? Like, what is that about? And I'm like, Well, I'll just put it this way. She works out more than me, and she's about to make just as much as me. And she loves doing it. And they're like, oh, awesome. And so I think that kind of helped me just when I actually see her enjoying it and knowing how to talk about it helps me talk about it too.
It's funny, every time I go home, I get a different experience because people are watching you guys, and we say this all the time, whether you know it or not. And when I was at a wedding this weekend, I had 4 girls come up to me, and it's like you recognize them, but you're not sure what their name is, and you've talked to them, and they're like, hey, Danielle. And I'm like, oh, I don't really know who you are. But they knew exactly what my story was. They knew exactly what I was up to. And it was kind of that moment where I was like, dang, like, people are watching. And on the other flip side, I also had a guy come up to me and was like, oh, beach buddy, whatever, make fun of me. And I just said, that's fine, laugh it up. When you match your income, come talk to me.
Love
So, there's always going to be skepticism and there's always going to be praise, but that's kind of the roller coaster that this business is. And as you continue to work on yourself, you get more comfortable with sharing what you're doing. And I can totally relate to like feeling like, how do I explain this to my family? Or how do I explain, people will be like, oh, you're doing that superfoods thing. Well, actually it's a little bit more than that, but I think when you kind of throw yourself into those situations and fail forward and, have those conversations with your spouse, like they're saying, to back you up, it's a lot less uncomfortable because you're going to say, hey, I helped somebody lose 20 pounds that have struggled for the past month. People connect to that and they want that. So, well, I just want to thank you guys for getting on tonight, and to the Boyers especially. I really appreciate you guys giving so much of your time, and we are so excited to meet little baby Boyer and shower him with lots of love. And we know you guys are going to be great parents, and I know Remy will be super jealous, but I really appreciate you guys, and I would not be here today without your endless support. So thank you for always supporting me.
Wait 1 second. Julie said, was that the girl who was on one of the Yeah, Christina.
Yes, Christina Delgado.
Can I take a picture of everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Oh, Karen, get Remy up.
Remy, come on. Every time I call Noelle, Remy gets on her lap in front of her face.
Okay, ready? Smile. Okay, one more. Okay, making sure everyone's looking. All right, thank you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to message me.
Sorry, my dog's losing his shit, so it's a good thing that we're ending this.
Oh, yeah, no problem. All right, bye guys.
Bye. Bye. Riley.